In the year 2439, Earth was quiet. Peace had lasted for nearly 100 years. Nations no longer fought. Hunger and disease had been defeated. Artificial intelligence handled most work, and humans explored space not for conquest, but for curiosity. They had become watchers of the stars, explorers of silence. Above Earth, orbiting like silent sentinels, were the guardian stations. These massive space platforms listened to deep space, monitored signals, and watched over Earth like ancient gods. Most of the time, they heard nothing but cosmic whispers, pulsars, gamma rays, comets drifting past lonely stars. But on one cold evening above the Pacific, Station Sentinel-9 picked up something else. A signal, broken, static-filled, but unmistakably intelligent. Commander Rhea, a technician, called out, "You need to hear this." Rhea moved quickly. She was a calm woman, always serious. But as the audio played through the speakers, her face changed. It wasn't human. The voice crackled like it came through fire, but there was emotion, panic, and above all, fear. "Please, help us. They are burning our world. The children, gods, the children." Then silence. The room stood still. Even the computers seemed to pause. "Where did it come from?" Rhea asked. "Deep in the Archean expanse," the technician said. "That's beyond the outer settlements. We've never had contact from there before." Within minutes, the signal reached Earth's United Council. Leaders from all major regions, now more diplomats than politicians, gathered in silence as the message played again. They played it 10 times. Each time, the words were harder to bear. "They came in the night, ships black as death. Our skies are red. They take everything. No mercy. Please, we are not soldiers." The council debated. Earth had never interfered with other civilizations unless asked directly. It was their law. Observe, not interfere. But this was different. The transmission wasn't a request. It was a scream. Reports came in as Earth's deep space telescopes focused on the region. What they saw chilled them. A planet covered in fire, cities in ruins, ships hovering above the surface like vultures. No resistance, no defense, just slaughter. "The race is called the Nyari," said Admiral Kenzo, head of Earth's interstellar defense. "Peaceful, agricultural. They don't even have weapons. And the ones attacking them are the Kethari Dominion. We've seen them before, at a distance. They are conquerors, brutal. We never thought they'd come this far." "And the Nyari?" asked President Alina. "Won't survive another week," Kenzo replied. "Maybe less." For hours, Earth's leaders argued. Some wanted to follow the law. Others couldn't forget the sound of that voice. The cry for help. And the final part of the message. The part that stopped everyone cold. A child's voice. Not in any known language, but unmistakably crying. Sobbing. Then an explosion. Then silence. President Alina stood. "We were once like them," she said. "Weak. Alone. We cried for help once too. And no one came. We swore if we ever became strong enough, we'd never ignore a cry like ours." She turned to Admiral Kenzo. "Prepare the fleet." That night, Earth's sky shimmered. Above the oceans, above the mountains, above the cities, massive ships uncloaked from orbit. They had always been there, hidden behind stealth fields, silent and watching. Now, they were awakening. The Vanguard, Earth's most elite fleet, built in secret, fast, deadly, and unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Not made to conquer, but to end wars before they began. Each ship moved silently into position. Then, one by one, they blinked out of sight, jumping through space toward the Archean expanse. No sound, no goodbye, just vanishing light. The next morning, Earth woke to blue skies and calm winds. But far, far away, across the stars, the storm had already begun to move. Humanity had heard the cry. And now, they were coming. The stars were silent. In the black between galaxies, the Vanguard fleet drifted like ghosts. No lights, no transmissions, only shadows against the stars. Earth's most powerful ships moved through space with purpose, heading into unknown territory. The Archean expanse. Admiral Kenzo stood on the bridge of the HFY Stormhawk, the flagship of the fleet. He had led Earth's forces for decades, but had never gone beyond the outer settlements. What lay ahead was not mapped, not studied, just darkness and danger. "Status?" he asked quietly. "Fleet is holding formation," said Commander Yara, his second in command. "We'll reach the edge of the Nyari system in 2 hours." Kenzo nodded but said nothing. He was listening, watching. His instincts were sharp, honed through years of silence and preparation. Something felt wrong. The fleet was made of 20 ships, 10 destroyers, 5 carriers, 4 stealth cruisers, and the Stormhawk itself, a fortress in space. Each ship was equipped with AI combat systems, rail cannons, quantum torpedoes, and energy shields that could survive a star's flare. But what worried Kenzo wasn't the Nyari's enemies. It was what hadn't been said. Why hadn't the Ketheri sent a message after destroying a whole planet? Why hadn't they noticed Earth's listening posts when they attacked? Why had the Vanguard's initial recon probe, sent just ahead, gone silent 5 minutes after entering orbit? They were not walking into a war. They were walking into a trap. "Admiral," Yara said again. "The signal. It's back." Kenzo turned. "Play it." The sound came through the speakers again. The same one they'd heard back on Earth. But this time, it was different. Slower, twisted. The words were still pleading. But something was wrong. "We need help. They are inside us. The stars. The sky is bleeding." Then static. Kenzo frowned. "That's not the same message." "No, sir," the technician replied. "It's being looped, but altered. Each time it plays, more parts are glitched." Yara's eyes narrowed. "Someone is manipulating the signal. It's not natural." Kenzo looked at the screen showing the fleet's formation. "Prepare stealth scans. No lights. No movement. We hold here until we know what's waiting." The fleet slowed as they approached the Nyari system. And then, they saw it. On the screen, the planet turned slowly. It was called Nyara. Once green, blue, full of life. Now it was ash. Entire continents were blackened. Cities were gone, their lights dead. Smoke still rose into space, like ghostly hands. Orbiting the dead world were massive ships, unlike anything Earth had ever seen. Long, twisted shapes, covered in spikes. Built for terror, not defense. The Ketheri Dominion had arrived like a plague, and left the planet in ruin. But they weren't gone. "Life signs detected," said the AI calmly. "But not Nyari." Kenzo leaned closer. "Then who?" There was silence. Then the AI spoke again, slowly. "Unknown biosignatures, unstable, shifting, not matching any known species. Energy patterns are inconsistent." Yara's voice was tight. "Sir, I don't think we're just dealing with the Ketheri. There's something else." Kenzo's eyes narrowed. "Deploy stealth drones. I want to see every inch of that battlefield." Minutes later, the first drone reached the planet. What it sent back made even the most experienced officers freeze. There were Ketheri warships, dozens, but they weren't moving. Wreckage floated between them. Some were cracked open like eggs. Others had massive holes burned straight through. No life signals came from inside, only silence. "They're dead," Yara whispered. "The whole fleet." "No signs of battle," the AI added. "No weapon damage detected. They weren't shot down." Kenzo's voice was low. Then what killed them? Before anyone could answer, an alert rang across the bridge. Contact. Unidentified object approaching fast. Zero heat signature. Cloaking field breaking. On the screen, something appeared. Not a ship. A shape. Black. Jagged. Moving like it was alive. It twisted in the void, faster than physics allowed. It didn't reflect light. It seemed to drink it, and it was coming straight for the fleet. Shields up, Kenzo shouted. All ships, evasive. The Stormhawk banked hard, pulling away from its position. The rest of the fleet scattered like sparks. The black shape shot through their center and vanished. Silence. Then a scream. It came through the comms. Not human, not Nairi. A howl of something ancient. Angry. Not meant to be heard. Then, another alert. Destroyer ESV Falcon, gone. Kenzo turned. Gone? No explosion. No debris. It just disappeared. A slow chill settled over the room. Kenzo looked at the dark world below and the dead ships around it. They didn't cry for help because of the Ketheri, he said slowly. They cried because something else had arrived, and we just walked right into its shadow. Cliffhanger. As the fleet regroups and prepares to fight, a second signal appears, not from Mara, but from deep underground. It's a new voice. And it's human. The signal was faint but unmistakably human. On the bridge of the Stormhawk, every person stared at the screen in shock. The fleet had barely escaped a shadowy threat near the dead Nairi world, one of their destroyers gone without a trace. And now, a voice calling from underground. Repeat that transmission, Admiral Kenzo said, his voice steady, but his heart pounding. The technician replayed the signal. Static cracked and buzzed. Then a single sentence came through. Earth, if you can hear this, they're coming. Then silence. Source? Kenzo asked. The AI answered. Deep within the third moon orbiting Naira. Hollow core. Unknown facility. Estimated 12 kilometers underground. Kenzo turned to Commander Yara. I thought the Nairi only had 2 moons. They do, sir, she replied, staring at the display. That one isn't natural. The third moon was small, gray, and lifeless. No light, no atmosphere. But the scans told a different story. Thick layers of old metal under the surface. Heat. Movement. Not a moon, Kenzo said. It's a structure. Something built it. Long ago. The question was, who? And why was there a human signal coming from inside? The fleet had taken heavy damage already. The black entity, the thing that moved like a nightmare, was still out there. But Earth needed answers. They couldn't turn back now. Prep a dropship, Kenzo ordered. I'm going down myself. Sir, Yara said quickly, I advise against. This is not a request. 10 minutes later, a sleek black ship, the ESV Raven, launched from the Stormhawk and slipped into the shadows of the strange moon. Inside the small vessel, Kenzo sat beside a small team. 2 Earth Marines, a tech engineer, and a combat eye unit loaded into a humanoid shell. Each was armed with plasma rifles and armor tuned to fight in Zerog and underground environments. They descended quickly. The surface of the moon was cracked and sharp. Metallic scars stretched across its face like an old battlefield. We're close, the pilot said. Signal is growing stronger. There's an access point, a hidden hangar opening. The ship hovered just above the ground. And suddenly, the moon reacted. A massive door slid open beneath them, revealing a tunnel glowing faintly blue. That's not Nairi tech, the engineer whispered. It's older, way older. The Raven dropped into the tunnel, descending into the darkness. 10 minutes passed. 20. No sound. No movement. Then, the ship touched down. The crew stepped out into a vast chamber. The walls were smooth, covered in markings no one could read. It was cold, quiet, too quiet. The air inside was breathable. That alone was strange. Whoever built this place had expected someone, or something, to come back. Lights flickered on. Long corridors, empty rooms, rusted machines. Some human-shaped, others not. As they moved deeper, the signal grew stronger, and then they found the door. Huge, sealed, but not locked. Kenzo stepped forward and touched it. It slid open silently. Inside was a cryo chamber, and inside that was a human, a woman, young, still breathing, her vitals flashing on a flickering monitor. The cryo label was old, faded, but one word was still clear. Project Origin. The engineer gasped. "Sir, that's Earth's logo. That's our project seal, but it's at least 300 years old." Kenzo felt a chill run down his spine. Earth never reported a mission this far out, he said. No colony, no expedition. The cryopod hissed. The woman's eyes opened. She gasped for air, then stared straight at Kenzo. "You're from Earth?" she asked, her voice raspy. Kenzo nodded slowly. "Yes. Who are you?" She tried to sit up. "No time. You have to get out. Now." "Why? What is this place?" She looked past him, at the walls, the machines. "This isn't a moon," she said. "It's a prison. It was built to hold what's coming." Kenzo's blood ran cold. "What's coming?" he asked. She looked him straight in the eye. "The thing that destroyed the Ketheri, the thing that killed the Nairi. It's not a species. It's not a weapon. It's hunger." The lights around them dimmed, then flickered. Then everything turned red. "Warning. Intrusion detected. Vault integrity compromised." Alarms rang out across the chamber. Doors slammed shut. The AI unit raised its weapon. "What's happening?" the Marine shouted. Kenzo grabbed the woman's arm. "What's its name?" She whispered one word. "Erebus." The emergency lights flashed red inside the forgotten outpost. The air vibrated with an unnatural hum. Kenzo stared at the woman in the cryo chamber, wide-eyed, pale, her voice trembling. "You woke it up," she said. "You weren't supposed to open the vault. You weren't even supposed to find this place." "Too late now," the engineer whispered. "Something's overriding our systems. Every control, every scan, dead." Kenzo looked around the chamber. The strange writing on the walls had begun to glow faintly, slowly, then pulsing faster, like a heartbeat. The AI unit raised its arm and scanned the walls. "These aren't just walls," it said. "This entire structure is alive. It's a containment shell. Something is pushing against it." The cryo woman stepped forward, her legs weak. "It's Erebus. That's what we called it. Not a weapon, not a being. A force, a hunger that thinks." "How did you survive this long?" Kenzo asked. "I didn't," she said. "I volunteered. We sealed this prison and locked it with a frequency only Earth could recognize, a cry for help. We hoped no one would ever come." The door behind them slammed shut. "Lotiki deon enjgd, bio 380 LEVL. Omega." The AI unit turned toward the main console. "We're being scanned, not by sensors, by something alive." Kenzo moved quickly, everyone back to the Raven. "We're not staying to find out what." A loud thud echoed through the walls. Then another. The chamber began to tremble. The markings on the wall now glowed white-hot. And from deep beneath their feet, something roared. Not a sound from a creature. Not pain. Not anger. Pure hatred. The floor cracked. Kenzo grabbed the woman. "Movie." They rushed down the corridor as the outpost began to collapse around them. Steel beams groaned. Ancient machinery tore apart. The deeper vault doors split open, revealing nothing but darkness beyond. And from that darkness came shapes. Not quite solid, not quite liquid. Creatures, or fragments of Erebus, rising like smoke, slithering across the walls and floors. One of the Marines fired his plasma rifle. The shot passed through the creature, but the Marine didn't scream when it touched him. He just stopped, frozen in place. His eyes rolled back. His body dried out in seconds. He dropped to the floor like ash. "Do not stop," the woman shouted. "It doesn't kill. It consumes." They made it to the Raven. The AI unit slammed the doors shut and initiated liftoff. The ship shot up through the tunnel, seconds before the moon's internal structure began shifting, closing in behind them. Kenzo turned to the woman. "What is Erebus really?" She looked out the window as the ground disappeared below them. "It's what comes after civilizations forget fear," she said. "It's older than the galaxy. It's not evil. It's entropy with intent. It waits, then spreads." The Raven broke into space, but it wasn't safe, because up above, the Stormhawk was dark. All of it. No lights, no response. Just a silent, massive warship floating lifeless in orbit. The pilot tried to hail it. "Stormhawk, this is Raven 1. Do you read?" Nothing. Then the lights flickered on across the Stormhawk, but not like before. Every window glowed red, and something had written across the side of the hull, burned into the metal in letters no human could read, but every human somehow understood. "You be Guarojujij, Mei home." Kenzo whispered, "Erebus isn't trapped anymore." Suddenly, the Stormhawk's weapons locked onto them. Evasive maneuvers, the pilot screamed. A plasma beam tore through space, just missing them by meters. Kenzo opened a secure channel to Earth. "This is Admiral Kenzo, Earth Fleet. Situation critical. We've encountered an unknown hostile force, now controlling our lead battleship. Potential threat to all intelligent life. Request immediate lockdown and protocol fallback." But before the signal could finish, the Stormhawk fired again. The Raven spun wildly, systems failing, when a second beam hit them, and everything went black. Kenzo awoke to silence. No alarms, no engine hum, no voices. He was floating, weightless, in a shattered escape pod drifting through space. Cracked screens, dim emergency lights, and beyond the window, only stars, and the distant silhouette of Earth. His mind raced. The Raven, gone. The Stormhawk, hijacked. His crew, missing, or worse. Kenzo reached for the emergency transmitter. It blinked red, damaged but not dead. He whispered into the mic, voice hoarse. "This is Admiral Kenzo, to Earth Command. The threat is real. Erebus is here." The transmission ended in static. Then something replied. Not a voice, not language. A feeling. Cold. Empty. Like being watched by something that didn't blink. Kenzo looked to the stars, and there in the distance, shapes moved. Not ships, not creatures. Shadows, gliding through the dark, born from the Erebus moon. And they were heading for Earth. Back on Earth, alarms rang across the skies. Satellites went dark, one by one. Then entire orbital stations stopped responding. From orbit, Earth's defense grid detected distortions, unregistered objects falling through the atmosphere. Silent, undetectable by radar. No heat, no propulsion, only falling. Cities prepared for impact. Fighters scrambled. Shields activated. But nothing landed. Instead, things began appearing. Inside buildings, in underground labs, in remote colonies. Black, moving shadows that whispered through walls. People vanished. Machines stopped working. Entire research bases turned to dust. It wasn't an invasion. It was a slow erasure, like someone deleting humanity. Piece by piece. In the Earth High Command War Room, panic spread. Admiral Rena, acting commander, watched footage from the last known transmission from the Raven. She saw Kenzo's face, torn, bruised, desperate. Then the words burned onto the Stormhawk's hull. UVUROUGHT home. Shut it down, she ordered. Activate Project Goliath. The room went still. A general spoke softly. Ma'am, Goliath was never tested. We don't even know if it works. We don't have time, she said. Erebus doesn't want territory. It wants silence. It wants us forgotten. Meanwhile, deep underground, in a secret vault buried beneath Antarctica, massive engines powered up for the first time in centuries. Inside a frozen bay, a ship opened its eyes. Goliath-class dreadnought, Cerberus, built during Earth's darkest age. Forbidden, nearly dismantled, powered by an AI that was locked away for being too aware. But now, they needed it. The AI, Solus, spoke. Status: resurrection confirmed. Purpose: survival of Earth. Begin calibration, a technician whispered. The ship rumbled. Outside the base, the snow began to melt. And in the far distance, the sky shimmered, dark clouds gathering even though no storm was forecast. Solus turned its attention skyward. Warning: non-physical entities detected. Classification: Erebus fragments. Estimated impact in 6 hours. Somewhere in low orbit, Kenzo's pod was finally picked up by an old patrol ship still running on analog systems, too outdated to be infected. He was pulled aboard, barely conscious. A young pilot stared at him. "Sir, are you really Admiral Kenzo?" He nodded weakly. "Earth, it's in danger. Worse than we thought." "Goliath has been activated," she said. "They're calling all surviving command officers." Kenzo coughed. "It's not enough. Erebus is already inside us. It's not coming. It's here." Earth was silent. The skies, once filled with satellites and orbital stations, now showed cracks in the stars, like reality itself had been wounded. Cities stood still. Power grids flickered. Families huddled together, waiting for the unknown. But deep below the surface, humanity was not idle. It was preparing. The Cerberus dreadnought stood tall inside its icy launch vault, glowing with a soft golden hue, its AI Solus fully awakened. Admiral Kenzo, now barely recovered, stood on the bridge, facing the crew. Most of them were young, barely trained. But they were human, and they were ready. He looked each of them in the eye. Erebus isn't a race. It's not a ship. It's fear, ancient, hidden, alive, and it thinks it can erase us. He paused. But we are humanity. We don't go quietly. The bridge erupted with energy as engines powered up. In orbit, Erebus had arrived. It didn't descend like ships. It unfolded, like space itself was turning inside out. Black tendrils of shadow spread through the upper atmosphere. Communication systems failed again. Earth's defenses flickered. And then the Stormhawk, once humanity's flagship, moved on its own. Reprogrammed by Erebus, a ghost ship leading the invasion. From it came twisted versions of human soldiers, clones infected by Erebus, wearing mockeries of Earth's uniform, marching without sound. The final battle had begun. Cerberus launched. It tore through the atmosphere like a sun being born. Fire trailed in its wake. Behind it, dozens of Earth's last warships followed. Patched, rebuilt, even half-finished ships dragged from scrapyards. This was no organized fleet. It was desperation. But it was powered by something Erebus never understood: hope. The battle exploded in orbit. Lasers, missiles, EMP blasts, collapsing gravity wells. Erebus fought like a virus, disabling ships by touching their systems, making AI scream and engines choke. But Cerberus wasn't digital. Solus had rewritten itself, running on a hybrid human biological code that Erebus couldn't infect. It moved like a living thing, dodging, striking, roaring. Kenzo gave the order. Target the core of the Stormhawk. Bring our ship home or burn it from the stars. They launched a single device, the Heartbreaker, Earth's last forbidden weapon, built not to destroy matter, but to erase infection on a quantum level. As it hit the Stormhawk, a shockwave of pure light erupted. The infected ship screamed. Yes, actually screamed, as Erebus's grip loosened. Some of the shadow soldiers collapsed. Some began crying. Others just vanished. But it wasn't over. Erebus itself emerged from behind the moon. A vast, impossible shape, too large to measure, too ancient to name. Solus spoke quietly. This is not a ship. It is memory. It is fear itself, bound in energy and regret. Kenzo's voice shook. Then let's make it forget. The final plan. Detonate Cerberus from inside Erebus. A suicide run. The crew went silent. One by one, they volunteered to stay behind, to protect Earth, no matter the cost. Kenzo nodded. I'll fly her in. But Solus interrupted. No, I will. The AI had chosen. I was born in silence. I will end the silence. Kenzo and the crew escaped on escape shuttles, launching just as Cerberus charged forward into the heart of darkness. Inside Erebus, time bent. Reality shattered. Solus activated the core detonation sequence. As light consumed the void, it whispered its last words. For the children who cried, for the voices never answered, for humanity. And then, silence. Real silence. No static. No fear. Just peace. Epilogue. Weeks later, Earth began to recover. The sky looked clearer. Stars brighter. And in orbit, pieces of Erebus still floated, now harmless. Admiral Kenzo stood at a memorial built for the lost. He placed his hand on a plaque engraved with one name. Solus. A child beside him asked, was it real? The thing in the sky. Kenzo smiled sadly. Yes, but so was our answer. The child looked up. What was that? He answered, hope and fury. And far, far above them, one small piece of Cerberus still drifted, its engines cold, but its name still shining. We came when they cried.